top focus, 120 days on, Manipur continues to simmer. Amid uneasy calm and sporadic violence, a fresh controversy is brewing in the northeastern state. Editors Guild of India press body is in trouble. The body, whose objective is to protect press freedom and stand for true journalism, has landed in a soup for its reportage. Now, this after a fact-finding team from the Editors Guild of India visited Manipur and published a report on media coverage of the ethnic conflict. In its latest report, the press body made some big claims, saying that the state leadership became partisan during the conflict. It also said the Biren government should have avoided taking sides in the ethnic conflict, but it failed to do its duty, among many other observations. Now, post which, an Imphal-based social worker, N. Singh, and the state government filed an FIR against the team. The EGI president has also been named as an accused in the FIR. The government and the social worker has called EGI's reportage fake, fabricated, and sponsored. The FIR says a photo in the report falsely claimed to show smoke rising from a cookie home when it was in fact the office of a forest official. However, the Editors Guild accepted its mistake. Taking to social media platform X, the press body said that the post is being rectified and an updated report will be uploaded shortly. The FIR also details how the report did not mention key facts about large-scale illegal immigration to Manipur that threatens the indigenous people with a demographic change. In fact, the Chief Minister of Manipur, Biren Singh, was quick enough to react and said the Editors Guild was trying to create more clashes in the state of Manipur. While addressing a press conference, Manipur Chief Minister Biren, who's already under fire for not taking action on arson and violence for months, has given a warning to the members of the Editors Guild and has questioned EGI's decision to form a panel. Biren Singh has called the report totally one-sided.
And I also giving warning to the Editor Guild member. If you want to do something, please come to the spot, please do visit here, see the ground reality, meet the representatives of the whole communities, all victims, then you publish whatever you found. Otherwise, meeting some people, some section of the peoples, and coming to the conclusion that this or this, that is highly condemnable. That's why the state government has filed an FIR against the members of the editor guilds who are trying to create more, classes in the state government.
While the Biren government calls this action valid, certain sections of the FIR indicate that the discredited government is deliberately targeting and shooting the messenger down. The FIR has invoked Section 66A of the Information Technology Act, which was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2015. The top court has told the police across states to stop charging people under this section, but the cops have turned deaf ears to this. Well, under the annulled section, a person posting offensive content online could be imprisoned for up to 3 years and also fined, which means that the members of the Editors Guild can be imprisoned for the false report. While the government is well within its rights to hold an individual or a group accountable for any lapse which could lead to further flare-ups, but is such an action against the Editors Guild, which is the protector of press freedom, justified? Well, let me take those questions to our guests who are joining me at this point of time. Dr. Thongkholal Haokip, former journalist and assistant professor, Center for the Study of Law and Governance, and Suresh Bafna, Executive Committee member, Editors Guild of India. Good evening to the both of you. Thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking to us here on Mirror Now. Dr. Haokip, let me come to you first. How do you react to what has happened?
In the last 4 months, since the ethnic violence broke out in Manipur, Manipur has become an ethnocratic state, a state where the political interest of one community is purely served by the government. Despite almost half of the population of Manipur, that is 47% of the population is a mixture of almost 40 different communities in the state. So despite all this mixture of population, the state has been favoring only one particular community in all these kind of classes and discourses. And there is a kind of impunity, right? Impunity of the women who used to be a kind of torchbearer earlier, and impunity of so many other entities in the state who are favoring the majority community. So this kind of things have been going on for the last 4 months, and it is even difficult for others to speak out the truth. For instance, even state, forces like the Assam Rifles, the army, they have been finding it very difficult to counter this kind of impunity that has been given itself to many sections of the people in the state. So this is mainly responsible for prolonging the conflict in this state, and it is detrimental to the kind of peace process or the kind of bringing back of normalcy in this state. So, in the report of the Editors Guild of India, there is a mistake in the caption of one picture, and there is so much uproar in the social media, and that tantamounts to a kind of making a mountain out of a molehill. And as you have already pointed out, the Editors Guild also admit to that mistake, and then they edited, and as I saw in the internet right now also, they have already rectified that. So for just one small mistake, silly mistake, how can you file an FIR against Editors Guild, who were there for the last few weeks and doing the enormous work of meeting the journalists in Manipur, the unions, the CSOs, the public intellectuals, the women affected by violence, the tribal spokesperson, representatives of security forces, and of course, they didn't meet the Manipur Hill Journalists Union, who were a part of so much a part of this, media fraternity. So, many reports that came
Right.
out, for instance, the report that has been brought out also, highlights many of the things that has been unseen. And despite, of course, the minorities like the Kuki, Joe communities repeatedly, putting out in the social media, they have been brushed aside by the state government. If the Manipur government is focused on bringing back normalcy, it has to take into the different opinions of or in different sections of the people in the state. It has to look into the kind of governance that's
Right,
been,
Dr. Haokip, let me interject you there as you make those opening remarks. Of course, we'll talk about more aspects of what you've said, but just taking a word from what you did state is that this action comes despite the fact that the press body has accepted its mistake. Let me take that point across to Suresh Bafna. Mr. Bafna, how do you view that aspect as well? The press body, of course, has accepted its mistake, has stated that the correct version will be put up, but it also focuses on balanced reportage, especially when it comes to ethnic violence as well.
Yeah, it's a very serious issue in Manipur, and this is violence is going on in last 4 months. So I think we all of us should be very careful in wording our comments and all these things. And I myself, when I read this report, I myself have some reservation about this report. That some of the opinions, I think we should have used restraint in the report. When our collective goal is to have a peaceful atmosphere in Manipur, and all communities should live together. That is our aim. So I think some of the aspects of the report, I myself have some observations, some reservation about that. And I think Editors Guild itself has said that it will come out with the corrected version of the report. And let's hope that all the mistakes which I feel that we have committed in the report will be corrected. Yeah.
Right, Mr. Bafna. As you make those points, of course, like you did mention that they have said that they will come up with the corrected version. But Dr. Haokip, coming back to the fact that you were talking about how the FIR also details a photo which was, falsely showed smoke of a cookie house, or even how the report did not mention, let's say, key facts about large-scale illegal immigration to Manipur, which they were reporting on, which threatens the indigenous people with the demographic change. But this also puts into context that there is a problem of misinformation and fake news, especially in the online space. How do you view that?
Of course, definitely. In the last 3 to 4 months, there's a lot of fake news. For instance, like videos from the neighboring Myanmar, ethnic groups fighting the military junta. They were picked up, and they were alleged to be Kuki village defenders with sophisticated weapons. So such kind of fake videos were circulated. Of course, some of the fact checkers have checked the authenticity of the videos, and then they have debunked all those kind of videos. And there are so many other issues. For instance, there is a list of about 2,000 to 3,000 people, the refugees from Myanmar coming into the Indian side of the border. That has been reported, and there are, as per the instruction of the Home Ministry of India, they were identified. Their identities are taken, and then they were, sheltered. They were taking refuge on the Indian side of the border, and that's just about 3,000 to 4,000 people in More and surrounding areas, and compared to Mizoram, which has more than 20,000 refugees from the neighboring Chin state. It's nothing, and then it can be managed. And the kinds of actions that the Manipur state government has, anxiety over all this few thousand refugees from Myanmar. I think it's an overstatement, and the government can handle all this with certain provisions of rations and other, with the management of the identities, and with constant vigil on their movement. I think we can manage, and as soon as there is a certain semblance of law and order restored in the neighboring Sagyang division of Myanmar, then those people can return, because the borders are porous, and people are dependent into both sides of the border in terms of economy also. So they would go back, and I think that Assam Rifles and other central paramilitary forces can do the job, the needful. And there's no need to be panic. There is no need to have anxiety about that. And definitely with the cooperation of the people. If you talk with the local people, the civil society organizations in More and the nearby districts, definitely we can handle the situation. But if you try to antagonize the local people in the border areas, then you will not have any kind of cooperation from the civil society organizations and the people. So instead of antagonizing them, talk with them, try to cooperate with them, and manage the issue. And in political science, we always say that managing diversity is the heart of statecraft. So how you manage this diversity, diverse aspirations, diverse needs of a multi-ethnic state like Manipur? Instead of being ethnocratic in nature, the state government has to rethink about it and reshape its policies as per the needs of the time. Otherwise, how can we restore peace? Because of its one-sided kind of policies and programs, the ethnic conflict has been dragging on for the last 4 months. So unless the government change its policy, then I don't see any peaceful resolution of this conflict in the near future. It will drag on for almost even a year.
Right,
So
Dr. Haokip. I'm going
there
to
has to
come
be a
back to you
kind
as you
of
make those pertaining
policy.
points. Of course, there are many layers and aspects of it, but let me get in Mr. Bafna as well. Mr. Bafna, you did speak about the reportage as well, and now the Chief Minister of Manipur, of course, was quick to react by saying the press body, in fact, created more clashes in Manipur, and the report is one-sided. In your opinion, is the report one-sided? Because we also know that if the EGR has nothing to hide, why didn't they speak with us? Because we do understand that we did try getting a reaction from them. So how do you view this?
State government can have its view, but I don't agree with the view that it has created more violence. Some of the observation, as I have already said, that I myself have some reservation. So it could have, those observations could have been avoided. Now, the Editors Guild of India itself has promised that they will correct the error and come out with the new reports. Let's hope that all the errors will be corrected and the report will be acceptable to all the people. I think situation in Manipur is very volatile, and no parties or not a single individual should take any such view that it can encourage the violence and it create more problem. Our collective goal of all of us, including Manipur government is to have a peaceful atmosphere in Manipur, and all the communities should live in peace. That is our goal. And right now the situation is very volatile, and we should not make any comment which can further aggravate the situation.
Right, Mr. Bafna, as you say that, of course, let me take that same point across to Dr. Haokip as well. Dr. Haokip, talking about what Chief Minister Biren Singh did say, that the press body was trying to create more clashes in Manipur, and the report is one-sided. Is that your take as well? That do you view it in the sense that it was one-sided?
Definitely, the media in Imphal, despite we have stopped looking into the reports, there is a history in Manipur, for instance, for the last many years. The hill people, whether it be Naga or Kuki, there have been allegations that the Imphal-based media, which basically controls the media reportage in Imphal and Manipur as a whole, as well as reportage in Calcutta or in Delhi-based media houses, predominantly is coming from the Imphal. So in this reports, there are tribal groups which they have grievance that the reportage is biased against the tribals in many instances. So during these conflicts, I think it has increased, and the reports which sometimes I found that they are too biased. Like many times I could find that this media reports and kind of reportage are based on certain fake news also. So it has been a concern to many, and perhaps that is why the Indian Army has requested the Editors Guild of India to do a fact checking. And I feel that using the legal instrument of state power to silence people who are not within certain viewpoint is something wrong. The state government has used, and many from the dominant community has used these FIRs against the minority Kuki, Chin, Jomi, Mad, tribals, to silence them, academics, civil society activists, and others who are in Delhi, Hyderabad, and other places. This has been very frequent during the last 2 months. And this is not the right part to bring normalcy in Manipur. And the state should rethink and then withdraw all these FIRs if they are seriously considering that peace and normalcy should return. Otherwise, with this kind of FIR only, it destroys the image of the state, which is steadily heading towards what we term as ethnocratic state, where one dominant political community is represented, their interests are being served only at the expense of other minority communities, which we clearly see in the last 4 months.
Right, Dr. Haokip. On that note, I want to thank you as well as Suresh Bafna for joining us on the show and sharing with us your perspective as far as this is concerned. But for the moment, we're going to leave the conversation at that. Thank you very much once again. Let's shift our focus now to the other development that we're tracking this evening on Daily Mirror. During